right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know we have several folks who are going to be watching us live, and as I had said before, we've grown quite a bit with we're live at least a couple times a week now, so we've gathered quite a following, and I'm excited to be able to have this event, to be able to reach so many people. And I'm looking forward to being able to go back and play in this, because this is going to be, this is the second class in our Chamber Member University series that we're doing, where we can explain to people a little bit more about their benefits. I really love that we have First Benefits here today, because it's something I've talked about to people for years. You know, in the beginning I didn't know as much about it myself either, but you know, the laws have changed back and forth a couple times since I've been here at the Chamber too, so it's nice to have people here that can explain what that means and talk about being. So this is Chamber Member University 201, insurance and benefits and discounts. So I'm thankful to everybody who is here today, and I'm going to turn it over. We're very thankful to Drew Barefoot, and I know y'all are celebrating your big anniversary this year, and we're glad to be working with you on a lot of stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Drew, and let you introduce everybody.
Thanks for having us, Diane. Just a couple of quick points here. I want to we're really excited about our 100-year anniversary this year. 1918 was when the agency started. I won't get too much into the history since we don't have a lot of time. But I do want to introduce Tracy Crowder. She's our office manager. She's here today. We have two new staff members, Cynthia Zadansky and Eric Roberts Jr. They're doing our customer service. And then also want to introduce our guest today. We've got Richard Southern from First Benefits. Blaise Stevens down on the end. He helps us with Powell-Barefoot. He's represents with Prudential, but he handles our financial planning. And Christian Thornton here with Paychex. And they're all going to be talking a little bit about what they can do, the benefits they can offer the chamber members. I'm going to speak a little bit to auto owners, who is our flagship company, property and casualty. They handle our commercial business, our business insurance. We do a lot with small businesses, manufacturing. We can also do trucking companies. We do pretty much a wide range of anything you need for your commercial insurance. Auto Owners has graciously accepted us to do an association benefit. So that's where the benefits for the chamber members come in. So any of your business policies would receive anywhere from a 5 to 10% discount from what the original price would be. We also have many other discounts that go along with your personal policies. So the more policies we can bundle together, we're able to give you more and more discounts, multi-car, multi-policy, different things like that. So
are you specifically speaking to cars that are business
This
vehicles?
is straight commercial, but if you do your personal policies with us as well, we can tie those benefits or those discounts in with the commercial policy. So every policy that we write through the auto owner system will give an extra benefit to the existing policies that you already have.
What about our members that are sole proprietors, that people who use their personal vehicle for work type stuff?
Great question. I'll use a contractor as an example. They usually, with small contractors or what we call artisan contractors, they have a one vehicle minimum, so their work truck that they're driving back and forth to work every day can be written under their personal policy. But we can tie the general liability for the business in with the personal policy to give them the discounts on both policies. So it is a great opportunity for the chamber members. We hope everybody will give us a chance to come in and just give us a chance to quote your business and see if we can make any referrals or recommendations for you and try and help you out where we can. Going to introduce Richard real quick. He's going to talk First Benefits and see what we can do for you on your workers' comp. Thank you.
Great, so I'm Richard Sutter. I'm the Vice President of Agency Development for First Benefits Insurance. So my role within the company is to go out, work with Tracy, work with Drew, and the Tracys and Drews that we have all across the state to help sell the policies, help make sure that our clients are informed, and also to help promote chamber relationships. So we've been tied in with the chamber for several years here, offering First Benefits as a true membership benefit. Before I get into a little bit of history about First Benefits, I'll give you just a quick 30,000-foot view of workers' comp. In North Carolina, all businesses that employ 3 or more employees are required by by state law, so workers' compensation is not so much insurance as it is the law, that you have to cover those employees. Sometimes there's some confusion because you have different setups of sole proprietors, like was just mentioned, LLCs and corporations. And sole proprietors and LLCs are treated a little bit differently when you deal with that rule of 3 employees. The owner is excluded from that count, but if you take a corporation with a president and CEO, all of the corporate officers are included. So sometimes that gets a little bit of confusion between, well, do I or don't I? And that's really having a local agent like Drew and Tracy. Hey, are we susceptible to the state statutes? Even if you do not meet the rule of 3 employees, you still have a responsibility to take care of the employees while they're on the clock and working on your behalf. So workers' compensation is just a smart choice for risk transfer, pay the premiums, because what happens when an employee is injured by an accident on the job, we step in, we deal with medical treatment. If they miss a certain number of days, we begin to reimburse them for lost wages, 2/3 of their average weekly wage. And then we go through the rehabilitation and everything that's necessary to try and get them back on the job as soon as possible. So again, the risk transfer and the cost versus the potential medical costs and responsibilities the employer could have for not carrying it are substantial. And in North Carolina now, the Industrial Commission does have people on the ground that are searching for people that should be carrying it by state law but are not, and the fines can range from $50 to $100 a day for each day without coverage times the number of employees that the job that the business has. So those fines can be substantial in and of themselves. So to First Benefits and the relationship with the Chamber, we were created 26 years ago. We started as a self-insured fund that was created by the North Carolina Retail Merchants Association in Raleigh. Over time, that benefit that they created for their members began to catch hold in other communities and in other organizations, and it expanded. So in 2008, we transitioned from that self-insured fund to a mutual insurance company, which is a lot of people familiar with. Nationwide, State Farm, same type of structure that we have there. We kept the membership piece, and that membership piece has grown. We have over 70 chambers of commerce that now participate with us in 9 statewide associations. What we do is we work solely within that framework. There has to be a membership portion in order to access First Benefits. So we encourage people to get a quote through Drew and Tracy here locally, promote the relationship with the Chamber of Commerce with First Benefits, and encourage new members to join up and take advantage of the program itself. What we also do in return, since we are membership based and it is our only method of acquisition, we take part of those premium dollars that are spent by these policyholders and we return a dividend back to the Chamber of Commerce to help support their efforts in the small business community here locally. So there's really no reason not to let the money that you're going to spend on workers' comp go back to work in your local community and let it do some things like these programs that we're doing here today, and everything else that Diana and her team are doing to try and help promote a healthy chamber and small business environment. Any questions about workers' compensation directly? I know it's a fantastic subject.
One quick question on the fines that you talked about. We
Sure.
had a situation with that with a client here recently. We found out after the fine had been levied, they had about $50,000 in fines. We got the comp policy put in place, but question for you, since you're seeing this, are those fines reduced, or does it kind of work like an audit situation where the OSHA will work with you on reducing that fine, or are you on the hook for that as well as the new?
My understanding and what I have seen over running into these situations, the Industrial Commission, they're not looking to put people out of business.
Okay.
But having said that, they're not going to let, in most instances, the fine erode and disappear completely.
Right.
But there is the opportunity to try and go in and negotiate that down. Since you are dealing with a state statute, and these fines are coming as a result of a violation of the statute, I would recommend that if you run into someone or know someone that has that, it's probably best to go ahead and hire an attorney and let them take on all the legal speak that's necessary to get that fine looked at.
That's what they did. I just didn't know if you had seen it in
Yeah,
action.
I have heard of many getting reduced now.
Okay.
And because I have heard, as a matter of fact, I saw a letter that originated towards the Outer Banks where they wanted proof of coverage all the way back to January 1st of 2013. And this business employed, I think, 11 or 12 people. You're looking at over 5 years of coverage times 365 days. So what's that, 1,600 for a round number times $50 times 12.
Yeah,
so
that's
$600 a day times 1,600 days is about
Yeah, it adds up really
$70,000.
fast.
It does,
Yeah.
it adds up really fast.
Okay.
But again, it's based on what type of jobs you perform. So a painting company is going to pay a little bit different than an office company. But I think you'll find that right now in North Carolina, the rates that are being charged for workers' compensation coverage are at the lowest point that they've been in my career, honestly.
Certainly not gonna be $50,000.
Certainly not going to be
A year unless
$50,000.
it's
That's exactly right. That's it.
No, and
So-
I was in an interesting situation as the employee before I came to work here. I was driving and in a car accident, but I was on the job going from one place to another for a meeting, and it was oddly enough, and y'all can understand this, is how everything works together. My because it was an emergency situation and I was airlifted and then brought by ambulance to the hospital, they started billing my medical insurance right away. Well, then it was deemed that it was workers' comp. And it's funny because we were a nonprofit at the time. I was the first original employee, but by then we had grown to 20, 30 employees. We were not going to be able to afford the premium on the health insurance for what it had gone up to for covering all of that for me.
Right.
But then when it flipped around and was rebilled through workers' comp, it was like a totally different situation. And I'm thankful for our organization, as I was next in line as executive director, that we had that coverage, on the personal side, and that my stuff was taken care of in a timely manner, and I felt like it was all handled appropriately. It still affects me to this day, the accident and some of the things that happened, but from the organization side, now doing what I do, it's interesting to see how that could have played out really ugly, because I mean our whole staff, like our CFO, they were freaking out because they were, we can't afford, so they wrongly got medical insurance premiums because it was right at that time of year that it was at the end of our fiscal year and all of our stuff was renewing, and they were like, wait, what? And come to find out, everything hadn't been resolved yet, that it came down to literally a company was going to be put out of business because they couldn't afford the medical insurance when, the workers' comp was what really should have been. So, I mean, that's a great example to me.
The great
of,
thing is they had all three pieces
yeah,
in
and
place.
they
so
did,
they
and they actually worked it out, and it was all great. And who would have thought, because it was my first thing of the day, but workers' comp being, I had passed my office that I normally would have stopped and done work, and had already gone further into the city and was headed to a meeting, and so they're like, it absolutely is workers' comp because she was already on the job.
So take it a step further and then imagine that you work for a smaller organization that did not offer health insurance benefits whatsoever. And what recourse would you have had?
Absolutely.
That's where small business owners really, as I say, that you may not trigger the law by the rule of three.
But it sure
But
is a
you can
protection.
guarantee that if a situation like yours happens and there's no one to pay the bills, you're going to look for help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the small business owner will be the first place that your assistants that you hire will probably go to look for and begin to look. So we'd love to have some more members take advantage of our program. So send them our way.
We try to talk to everybody who joins about, how many if they have the rule of thumb employees, and it's one of the first things that our membership director says to them. So, and I've had people come in here and I've given them Peg's information or the rack card, and say, you really need to call and check, or hey, call Drew and find out, let Drew work it up for you or whatever. So, I find it interesting. So one of the things that we found at the chamber is that a lot of people get into business and they're overwhelmed by all the things, all the check marks. And so, Reidsville as a city has come up with a really great guide as far as like business licensing and that sort of stuff. But we're trying to focus on, okay, well, if that's the case, how many employees do you have and where do you fit in this? So we're trying to develop kind of a checklist for, well, that's great.
Yeah.
You got your stuff and you got your business license and you registered and you've got a business plan and a building and a business and inventory, but what about all of these other things? And so, I mean, that's one of the reasons we wanted to have this.
Well, and
So,
sometimes you can overdo. You
yeah.
can buy too much, things
Yep.
that you don't need.
Absolutely.
And that comes in with just the education from all of us to
The education and
to help
having,
you with
Right.
what you need, and as you grow, we can add and grow with you. And
well, and I
what
tell
makes
people, the chamber is based on relationships. Everything about the chamber is relationships. And so when we have insurance agents that we can trust and partners that we can trust that work with our insurance agents, that we can say, hey, call them. They're going to help you through whatever it is that you need. Come see me if they don't.
Right.
But I promise you I'm putting you in good hands, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore because
Right.
I know that they got what they needed. And so that's where we are with it, is we're just trying to educate people. And
Well,
Reidsville's really seeing the rebound,
Mhm.
you know, with the expansions and the new projects moving here, and there's a lot happening, and so we want to be sure that everybody's covered.
wonderful. Well, I really appreciate you guys having me. Drew, thanks for
Thank
the
you.
invitation
Yes, sir.
as well.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. I know
I,
you got to run.
I'm going to cut down another chamber
Yeah.
relationship we got to check on as we speak. So thanks again for you all.
Thanks for.
And thank you for lunch as well.
I'll be in touch.
Take care.
Thanks so
Nice
much.
to meet you all.
You good?
Yep.
Here we go. All right.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christian Thornton, and I am with Paychex. I'm sure a lot of people are pretty familiar with Paychex. We're actually the nation's leader in human capital management. Contrary to popular belief, we don't only just do payroll. So, yes, it is our bread and butter. We can absolutely help just about anyone with payroll services, but that's not where we, stop. We help, small to medium-sized business owners with virtually anything they may need for their business. Outside of payroll, what we like to do is connect our clients and our soon-to-be clients with different organizations that can help them with workers' compensation. Here locally in the Triad area, we're working with the Powell-Barefoot agency. And outside of just insurances, we can also help with 401k plans and different things of that sort, and group benefits and whatnot. And we work together with a lot of our different partners here at the chamber to really provide outstanding support for small and medium-sized businesses. Another thing that we really have come to realize is that small to medium-sized businesses, mainly between 1 to 19 employees, they often don't get as much business as they should. A lot of people really have the name recognition with larger organizations. So what we tend to do is try to connect our small business clients with one another. And, we request that, they offer exclusive pricing and things of that sort so that we can spread around more business with the, small to medium-sized business, community, at least here in the Reidsville area. But like I said, we're the nation's leader in human capital management, so we're everywhere, all over the country. But I am the rep here responsible for the Reidsville, Eden, Burlington, everywhere around there in downtown Greensboro area. So basically, I do like to work with just about anyone I possibly can. There's virtually no business we cannot work with. The way that our organization typically starts working with a client is via the payroll. After that, we can start to identify different things that can help your business grow into the future, like I had already mentioned. But with starting with just payroll, the way we do that is via a lot of different options. We're very versatile when it comes to processing payroll, since that's pretty much what most people know about us. So we made sure that we do a pretty darn good job of it. You can process payroll with us at your own pace via the online portal or via mobile app on your iPhone or Android, on a tablet, a designated terminal like a computer or anything of that sort. But with that, customer service is also world class here at Paychex. So you can always process payroll with your dedicated specialist that's at corporate. Every single client that we have only has one person that they have to speak with at corporate. You're never calling a 1-800 number. You're never getting a bunch of random people whenever you have an issue. Anytime you need to call corporate for anything under the sun, you only have one singular person that you have to deal with. Or you don't even have to do that. I'm always in your territory. I make the joke all the time to any of my clients. If you ever have a problem, you can probably walk outside, yell my name, and I'll probably hear you. You know, so you know, it's and I think I stand true to that. Oh, will you? Yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome to. You know, but like I said, customer service is world class with Paychex. We will support you under any circumstances, through anything, and we'll make sure that we guide you through the processes of growing pains. Because let's be honest, you know, when your business starts to grow, a lot more questions start to come up, and we have a lot of the answers. So we're, like I said, we're kind of one of those multi-tool pocket, you know, those little, I don't know the real name for those, but that's the way I like to kind of, think of Paychex as, if you need a screwdriver, there's your screwdriver. You need a wrench, here's a wrench. You know, we're there for just about anything you may need. So now, of course, I've said all this. You're probably thinking, this must cost $1 million a year. You know, I've got 2 people, designated points of contact, all that stuff. It really doesn't. We try to remain as competitive as possible. And like I said, when we connecting our clients, we request that they offer exclusive pricing to one another. So it wouldn't make sense if we didn't offer exclusive pricing ourselves, right? So whenever we have a referral, from like the chamber or one of the other partners that we work with, or even some of our clients, we will offer exclusive pricing. And our minimum discount, very minimum, is 25% of not what our price is, but what you're currently paying now. So don't be afraid to talk to me. I'm not going to ask you to sign a contract for an arm or a leg. Nothing like that. And that brings up another good point. We don't do contracts. We have 0 contracts there. Absolutely no obligation to stay with us. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't want to, but in the event that happened, there's no strings attached, no cancellation fees, no nothing like that. We simply do the best we can, and we hope that you would like to continue doing business with us throughout the years. Outside of that, I just want to run over very briefly what all is included in every single one of our packages. Even if you just get our basic payroll processing package, we're going to do your business taxes. At the minimum, we're going to do your 941s and your 940s. 941s are your quarterly taxes, and 940s are your annual. But we'll file those for you on your behalf, 100%. You have 0 tax liabilities when you're working with Paychex. Well, I mean, you still have to pay them, of course, but we take on all the liability on your behalf. So we make all the deposits, and we guarantee that it is done in a timely fashion. And we also guarantee that you will not have to pay an additional penny to Uncle Sam for any of the deposits that we do on your behalf. So if you were ever to receive an IRS letter and you're processing with Paychex, all you have to do is get in touch with us, let us know, and we'll take care of it. Of course, because we're taking on all your liability. So as long as it's something that was our fault, we'll take care of it. And outside of that, like I said, you always get the dedicated point of contact at corporate, and you always get me here locally, and you also get direct deposit, that's included, and you also get Skylight cards, which are little prepaid Visa cards. So if you have a lot of cash businesses and things of that sort, don't really deal too much with direct deposits and typically pay people via check. Everyone knows it's a lot easier to process via direct deposit. So what we've done is we've partnered with a company that will provide all of our clients with little prepaid Visa debit cards called Skylight cards, and this is what you can use to pay your employees if you don't already have a way to pay via direct deposit, or if you want to stop paying via checks. But those are just a few of the things that we include on every single one of our accounts. And I would love to speak more with any of the chamber members about some of the things that we can do for their organization. Of course, everyone's situation is different. I work personally and very closely with every single one of my clients to ensure that we're giving them all the tools that they need to achieve some of their goals. So let's talk. Let's figure out what we need to do to take your organization in the future. And I'd love to work with as many folks as possible. So any questions? Well, all right, cool. Thank you so much.
I do like it. I do. I have like a million questions.
Really?
We'll follow up.
Yeah. Sorry.
What is it, trap you in back there?
I'm sorry, Blair. I'm trying to hold you hostage.
That's cool. Blaise Stevens, and was asked to talk a little bit about health insurance. I know there's a lot of questions out there about it. Everybody hates it. It's a necessary evil. So I wanted to talk specifically on the group stuff today because it kind of goes together, especially with small businesses. So what I passed out, and you're welcome to kind of send that out to the group or
Perfect.
membership or whatever. Just kind of
Can you send me electronically?
absolutely, yeah. And is walk through a couple of the different ways that small businesses can actually acquire health insurance and walk through what those look like. The first one's the shop marketplace, very much like the marketplace for individuals. Small business health insurance, health option program is actually what it stands for. You go onto the same healthcare.gov website that you would for your individual stuff, and you actually can look at the plans there. Here in North Carolina, they're very limited because there's only one health insurance carrier left in the marketplace, and that's Blue Cross Blue Shield. So everyone else has gotten out of the marketplace because it's just not sustainable financially. Blue Cross Blue Shield's only still in the marketplace because the federal government's actually subsidizing them to stay here. So what will happen in the future, we don't know, but certainly one option to look at is for your small business, you can go there. Subsidies and tax credits are potentially available depending on the size of your business. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And then secondly, the most traditional way, those private small health insurance plans are still available through your traditional carriers, your Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Aetna, Cigna, etc. Those are what we're most used to, and those are still around. You'll notice that the pricing has gotten a lot more expensive there because those same companies that are offering individual plans through the marketplace are limited on how much they can charge. They're passing on the cost to the small group plans. So even though they are still available, you're seeing a lot higher cost with those. Thirdly, and with a lot of our clients, what we've done is we've moved folks away from groups. Anybody who's under 50 lives doesn't have to provide group coverage. There's a misnomer out there. If you're over 50 live employer, you do have to provide group coverage, but if you're under 50 lives, you do not have to provide group coverage. So what we've done is helped a lot of small business owners move folks to the individual market, especially your lower wage earners. If it's more blue collar, gray collar folks that are below the thresholds of the subsidies, you can qualify for a subsidy in the individual market as long as you don't have access to credible coverage through group plans. So what we were finding is the employer was offering a group plan. It was astronomically high, and at the same rate that folks weren't able or willing to pay that, they also couldn't qualify on the individual market for a subsidy because they had access to that group plan. So getting rid of the group plan, moving to individual plans, they could all qualify for subsidies, and it allowed them to have much more affordable health care.
Can I ask questions now?
Absolutely.
So, doesn't that also, and I could be totally wrong, but if you're married and you're working for two different companies and you have access as the spouse to your spouse's group coverage, that also is included, right?
Yeah, so if you have credible coverage access through a spouse, you're still not able to qualify.
Okay, that's
for
what I
subsidy.
thought. I just wanted to be sure.
Absolutely.
I think that's the trouble that a lot of people find is that the other spouse does have access, even if it's ridiculous too.
Yep.
And then it just messes everything up.
Yeah,
for them.
and that's the key,
that's,
right?
I mean,
It doesn't-
that's where we are.
It doesn't matter how expensive it is. It doesn't matter if you can afford it.
Right.
If you have access to it. And a lot of times, right, the employer is going to pay a significant portion for the employee, but they may not cover anything for the spouse.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. So it kind of depends on that. But in our case, with a lot of the small employers, they can just give their folks a raise and say, go take care of your own, and it still works out better. Because after wages, health insurance is the second most expensive cost for most small businesses. And it's kind of like, well, do you want a job or do you want health insurance? Right? And so, yeah, I mean, none of it is perfect, but this is the kind of the options we have. There are some private health exchanges that have popped up where we actually see private insurance companies and actually offering plans that work. And then the other one on the back page is co-ops, which they kind of go hand in hand. The co-ops are some of the faith-based plans that we see out there now, that they offer individual, but they also offer small group plans. So a lot of faith-based organizations will offer group plans up to 100 lives. Much more strict on pre-existing conditions and stuff like that, because they don't actually have to follow the ACA guidelines, but there are options there as well. So nothing's perfect, but there's certainly options out there to get coverage. Just kind of depends on your, what you're trying to do with your small business. So if you have questions with that, Drew Barefoot's a great resource, and he can help walk you through all that. Any other questions?
So my advice usually to people, I think it's the same thing at this point, is call your agent and let them walk through and ask all the
It's just
questions, because
of
it's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff that, each of the 3 employees here, the current employees, we're all in very different situations individually, and that puts the chamber in a very different situation as an organization. And so, I've learned a little bit about that, but I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what the laws actually are. And then what that means, and so, and a lot of people read Facebook and they get their information from social media or from the media that doesn't always have the right, information as well. So I think my suggestion is still the same to our chamber members, which is call the insurance agent. They're going to help you walk through that. But for us, are there any other options or any other ways to help the businesses get through that? Is there even a basic, this is the law for the 50, there seems like there's 2 or 3 basic rules, if thens, right? So hear me, okay, I have 51 employees, then this, if I only have 3 employees, then, it feels like there's at least some if-then scenarios or things that we can.
Yeah, the smaller the group, the harder it's going to be, right? Because just like the example you were using earlier with your car accident, right? With a smaller group, the risk is spread amongst fewer people. Right. So as we get into larger groups, even 50 plus, 100 plus, now one car accident, one cancer deal, one major surgery doesn't throw everything out of whack. Drew and I worked with a client that had 120 people, and they had 3 major health deals, a cancer, a hip replacement, and something else. And just those 3, because they were so significant in cost, threw a 120 person group up significantly at their renewal.
You can imagine what that do to
So,
a 3 or a 5.
You have 5 people in your employee.
Because you're only at 1,000% risk.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So, even if you have 10, let's say you have 10 folks and one person has cancer and spends $1 million on cancer treatment. Okay, right? The law says you got to cover them. The law now says, which are all good things, but when we're talking about insurance companies, it's still, they make money based on risk and actuarial tables. And so things will change. We don't know what it's going to look like, but there's already rumblings and there's already things coming down the pipeline. But this is where we stand today. So yeah, over 50, it's a lot easier because you have to provide group health insurance.
You just have to figure out what.
You got to figure out what you can afford, and that's where you start getting into high deductible health plans and health savings accounts, which I'll say for folks that are used to more traditional PPO plans, get used to them because PPO plans are going away. And I will tell you, if you do the math, high deductible health plans with health savings accounts actually will save you money long term, even folks with the most significant medical costs.
Yeah, because that just happened to us, our family. My son had tubes put in his ears like the second week of January, and bam, we hit our family deductible for the year.
Yes,
and then there we were. We owed that bill, but everything else
You
is
get
a
2
whole
notes
lot
for the
more
rest of the
gravy
year.
for the rest of the year.
Pretty good.
It sucks, but it's like, because you don't want, everybody, that's been such a thing for so long, is, that deductible. But for us, it was kind of like, hey, well, maybe those optional things that we've been putting off, now we'll take care of, because.
I tell everybody, go get your tune-ups once you hit the deductible.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So so there's not a perfect option there, and that's what's probably most frustrating with small business owners, and again, because it's a significant cost.
Can you speak to HSA accounts as well? Because I think that's a thing that people get tripped up on. They don't understand.
Yep.
So like per $100, you're saving yourself X percentage or X amount of dollars when you put it in there and use that to pay for things. Because in my opinion, those are a lot more lenient than what they used to be for the things that you can use them for. And I mean, for me, you can use your HSA to buy essential oils because it's considered like a health and wellness thing. So, I mean, you can use it for anything. So, I mean, you're crazy if you're not trying to max out what you can afford to put in your HSA account.
So
But I don't think people understand the correlation.
Yeah, so high deductible health plans, in order to reach that, or to be designated as such, you have to have a certain deductible, a high deductible, and it varies based on individual and family different plans. But if you qualify for that, in addition to that, you qualify for a health savings account, not to be confused with a flexible spending account. A lot of folks confuse those two, right? A flexible spending account is the use or lose it. People don't like that, right? A health savings account will roll over any unused portion from year to year.
But you can have a debit card for an HSA.
You can
because
also
that's
have
what
a
we
debit
have,
card
so.
for an HSA. They work exactly like a flexible spending account. The same 47 pages on the IRS website qualify for both. The difference being a flexible spending account is a use it or lose it. So if you don't spend all that money by March of the next year, it's gone. The health savings account actually rolls over from year to year, and you can build up a balance, right? So when you have that health savings account, that money goes in pre-tax, so depending on what your tax bracket is, so let's say you're in a 25% tax bracket, for every dollar you put in, you save 25 cents.
And Blaze, is it still anyone can contribute to that account, your employer, your parents, your spouse, is that still correct?
Not parents, but employer and employee
Employer, okay.
can do that. If you have a high deductible health plan with an individual plan, as a family, you can obviously contribute to that, but you can't have like parents or grandparents.
I know we've done them in the past where the employer has done a base amount to start the year.
Correct.
And then the employee can add. as
That's
they
what
go.
my husband's do. They
Yeah,
do.
so-
Like if they meet their health goals, like they have that program where so many steps, and they track all their stuff. And if he meets all his stuff and fills out all his
He gets a
questionnaire,
nice chunk. at the
he gets
first
like a
year.
chunk at the beginning of the year, and then per paycheck he
Yep.
adds so
So
much.
it's
But
very
it's
flexible.
a huge limit. Like I mean, we're not doing that yet.
You
But
can do
that's our goal.
$67.50 as a family.
How much is it?
$6,750 as a family.
Yeah.
And it can also be a great planning tool. We do it a lot for clients that are higher income earners that don't spend the money each year. Use it as another tax and savings vehicle, because after you got $1,000 in your account, you can actually invest it. So lots of options and flexibility there. Folks just have to get used to when I got the sniffles and go down to the doctor, it's not going to cost me $10. It's going to be whatever your deductible
30,
is.
40, whatever.
Now, to be clear too, you still are able to get the negotiated rate from the doctor for having health insurance. So let's say that if you walked in off the street and didn't have health insurance, they charge you $100 for that visit, but the negotiated rate through United Healthcare is $65. You'd still pay the $65 rate. However, you do pay the full boat until you hit your deductible. So, but certainly something to look at and think about, because overall cost savings can be significant, and if you manage your health well, you can save some serious dollars there. And as I said, they're here and they're here to stay, and we're seeing more and more companies, even Fortune 500 companies, moving to those types of plans in order to save costs and put some of the health awareness back onto the employees. So, as I said, if you have questions, Drew Barefoot's a great resource for that.
So, I think too, it's a lesson for our small business owners and our, in general, our chamber members is that I don't think people understand all the services that can come through your office. I think they think, people think insurance and they think, okay, home and auto, maybe they go medical, but they definitely don't think about all these other things and what it means. So I'm just thankful that you could bring all your partners together. This is not even all of them. This is a fraction.
It's the best one.
This is of the best one. I wasn't going to say that, but I'll let you say that.
But I would love to talk
Thanks,
to.
Christian.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
Or can get you some information on what all products that Tracy and I do, and then of course Blaze with his financial planning skills, what helps and services any of our clients.
There's really no fee for that.
Well, I want to continue to have these chamber university where we bring in people who can say, I mean, just for educational purposes, like this is what, because
Yep.
at the end of the day, the more well educated we are, the more educated other people watching are, I think the more that we continue to serve our community
Well, if
better.
you wanna pick some products, we'd be more than happy to do.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
So
we'd
just
be
do
happy
more, a
to.
little more
That's
specific.
like I said, we've got a 300 job expansion coming. We've
Mhm.
got, you know, Love's is going to bring 50 plus jobs, and there's a lot of stuff happening, and those are all people who work with us. I mean, there's a lot of things that are changing, and the tides are changing in Reidsville. So we're thankful. I think you're seeing a lot of turnaround too from the building. There's a lot of building happening. Obviously, there's some storm damage and building,
Lots
but
of that
there's
right now,
also
yeah.
residential building
Mhm.
and some other things happening. So, and then I mean, just pretty much any need I think that people have related to insurance or some of these other services, I think it would be great for them just to reach out. So maybe even too, we can set up some afternoons where we have somebody here in the lobby. Like maybe we have several people here and we just say, hey, come get your information, you know, let them
Yep.
bring you back a quote. Like we can have some working.
We're gonna try to
workshops.
have everybody back for the showcase as well, and probably some more folks as soon as we can. So,
And I'm working on the dates. for
okay.
that. I'm hoping to know something next week.
Yes, sir.
Question, as an ambassador of the chamber, I'm one of the things I'm trying to get out of these is to be more educated when I visit the members that I'm allocated to
Right.
visit. So I can tell them a little bit more about the benefits of being a member of the chamber, make sure they're using those benefits.
Right.
And also for prospective members of the chamber, what they can get out of their membership. From what I'm hearing today, and it's all been great information, I really appreciate everything, but you are partnering with all the other folks here.
Yes, sir.
That came in today.
Yes, sir.
So the discounts that members get, how does that work?
As far as the association discount with our property and casualty company,
Okay,
that is just for chamber members.
okay,
And that would be on the property and casualty side.
okay.
As far as the first benefits, that is still a chamber related.
Yeah, and that's a chamber
benefit.
thing. We actually pay the North Carolina Retail Merchants Association a membership, and it's a benefit to us by being. That's what he was talking about how that
Okay,
formed.
okay.
We actually pay to be a member of the North Carolina Retail Merchants Association, and that's one of our member benefits. Is that, and we actually that's who our workers' comp is through as well. And so we pay to be a part of that, and that's a benefit to us. And then we can continue that through the chamber and say anybody who's a chamber member. And I mean, Drew writes it. Several of our agents can write that, but. And then they go to the agent and write it through them, but they verify. I mean, they call here and say, are they a Reidsville Chamber of Commerce member if they don't already know?
As far as Blaze, I'm sorry.
No, that's
As far as
fine.
Blaze is concerned, I guess, the benefit for the chamber members or for Reidsville folks in general would be working with us. That is a free that consultation is free. That free look that he would not normally do, that is usually a fee-based thing, is with our clients. If you're working with us, that comes automatically. And then that's where
So some of them are affinity programs for the chamber, meaning
Right.
that we pay into like the membership and then get the benefit, and then some of them are just because they can, like Drew was saying, where they do several products for you, then they can get the multiple discounts. And that
most
sort of
companies
thing,
do a
too.
multi-policy discount or multiple policy. Where we feel like we're a little above that is with the chamber association discount.
Yeah.
So it's a discount on top of what other discounts you're getting with your policies.
Okay. All right. Well, do y'all have anything else? Do y'all have anything else you want to add or information where you're located, how to find you?
When we're at 108 South Scales, down across from Ed Guns, next to the House of Wax. Website's Powell-Barefoot.com.
And you're back up on Facebook?
Yes, we're back up on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Alignable. We're just about everywhere.
Okay.
So please come visit us with us and have a cup of coffee and see what we can do for you.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir. Thank you.
It was very educational. I appreciate it.
And if
All
you
right,
need
Facebook
anything,
viewers, thank you for tuning in
information
today
for
with
specific
Powell-Barefoot
comments
as they're
or
celebrating their
services,
anniversary, and they want to get the word out and just say we've been doing this for 100 years and we're going to do it for 100 years more, and just wanted you to hear about more benefits and discounts to being a part of the chamber. So thank you for listening in today and tuning in. Please share this as we try to let people know how it benefits to be a chamber, and we're trying to learn more too so we can help our member businesses. So thank you for being a part, and keep sharing, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah.